everyone, it's Ivory and welcome back to Astral Ivory, and today we are going to go into part 2 of the Nazca Aliens, and we do have a really special guest today. Her name is Alison Ailfinn Allan, and she will be translating for the Nazca Aliens, and of course my spiritual guide Curtis, who always has his 2 cents to put in. Alright, so let's go into part 2. So last time we left off on Josephina and also Alberto, and so we were talking about the implant on top of the thorax, and she was saying that she didn't really have much freedom. She was mostly controlled. And do you think that implant was maybe a way of control of whoever was controlling them?
It was a monitoring device, is what I get. I could feel it as a monitoring device that monitored their bodily systems. Josephina and what was the name of the
Alberto.
Alberto.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I know you said you thought that Josephina was quite young. I think Alberto is the father of those eggs in her. That's why I got the word father. Right. They were part of a breeding program, is what they're giving to me, and they were hybrids, bred with other types of humanoid populations that they came to be. And again, those eggs in her tummy were causing her a lot of discomfort, because I can actually feel them. They're very uncomfortable for her. And she keeps giving me the word incubator. So we were using her, whoever they are, using her as an incubation system, right? So I feel like we have just hooked into two creatures that really had no freedom of their own, and they were being manipulated by some other entities. Now, I have to ask that question because at the beginning, as the collective voice, when I got the collective voice, they said they were benevolent. But this, now we've got to focus into Josephine and Alberta, that doesn't sound very
benevolent
to me. That sounds like they were caught up in some kind of breeding program and they really had no control of who what they were. And the other thing they told me right at the beginning was, just to recap, that they were killed for purpose. So their whole existence was really controlled by some other entity. Now, that might be where you want to go in the future, to see who they
that's right.
was. That was doing all of this.
I'm actually really curious. Can we talk about who they are now?
Well, Curtis is not on this show.
Okay.
That'll be another show.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha. This is the Curtis show. he's like, no. Okay. Okay. So all right, so let's go into the bodies. And so I was looking into and how they discovered them. And so it looked like they weren't able to chew. Is it true that you guys weren't able to chew?
It's really bizarre you saying that, because my teeth have been hurting from when she came and gave me the feeling in my tummy about the eggs. Then my teeth started to really, really hurt. Now, I don't even know if they had teeth, but my jaw all around is very, very painful.
Well, they were saying they had no dental phalanges.
Right.
Not quite sure what that means, but...
I don't know what a phalanges is. But boy, does my lower jaw really, really hurt. Right.
Oh, man. So they were just suffering. Like, that's that's crazy.
Yeah. They're telling me that they are part of human evolution. They were some of the earliest experiments on humans, like to help create the human species as it is today. and I feel quite a lot of sufferances for Josephina's energy. I get a sadness about her. I'm getting emotional from her, and it really was not a pleasant experience. I'm just like, but now you're okay though. Like, that's not happening anymore. You're not that body. We've got your body, so therefore it's not happening. He says there's no time, right? So if there's no time, that everything is happening at once. So when we tune into her energy, we're tuning into how she felt at that time as well, right? Because it's happening now. You can't separate the two. So she said her life was quite short-lived. Um, she was, she said she was treated quite badly by oh, here we go, the ruling classes. That's a telltale statement. The ruling classes really didn't treat her very well at all. And Alberto, she calls him a husband. The only grace that she feels that they got from that is that they left together in what, hence the bodies were mummified. They left together, so they weren't separated from each other, and they have a strong hand. Their DNA has a strong hand in human DNA, humanity itself. They are part of humanity, and that they feel very proud of to have helped, despite the sufferances that they experienced, that they helped humanity come to where it is today.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. You're not like expecting that, like when you see the discovery of their bodies, you're not expecting like this whole other life. We evolved from them. That's crazy. Oh man. So well, how did you guys live? I mean, were you given housing or anything like that? How did you survive?
It was. She said it was what we would consider a meager existence, but it's not meager because that's how things were, right? She's showing me using a stone looks like to grind. Actually, looks like flour or something like that. She's grinding the husk off some grains. So from her perspective, there was no modern tools. She said those that helped create her, they had all the modern tools, but she lived a fairly primitive existence. Um, she lived in a hut. Um, I can see I can see a lake. There's a big lake on the left-hand side of my vision, and they are living near the lake. They're living near the water, and so in terms of did they have washing machines and computers and things like that? No, it was a very primitive lifestyle, but that was okay. They were happy with that. It was the others, the ones that were controlling them and developing them. They were the ones that had all the technology.
Those rulers. Oh man. Okay. Um, did you eat? Did you drink? I mean, I'm sure you probably did. I'm just wondering how. What did you guys eat and drink?
Yeah. Yes. Well, they largely a very simple diet. The diet wasn't complex at all. It was just a sustaining diet. She shows me plant foods, some really big leafy things. They look like banana leaves. I don't know if you get bananas in South America, but they look very similar, but actually bigger. So, oh, it's some kind of round fruit. It's quite sweet. it's really sweet, this really sweet tasting fruit, fleshy, and then grinding up the husk on any kind of grains that they could get their hands on. Nuts, they ate nuts, various types of nuts, and quite a primitive lifestyle. It's the kind of lifestyle you would expect to see from human existence.
Yeah.
A caveman,
Yeah.
a caveman's existence is very, very similar. Yeah.
Wow. How did you communicate? Was it vocally, telepathy?
She says they were telepathic. They were telepathic, but they could vocalize. They didn't vocalize a lot. They didn't have a lot of words, right? They didn't vocalize very much. It was mostly telepathic. It was mostly the high vibrational the things that we're doing now, right? That's how they communicated. She says that they sometimes made clicks and noises with their throat, which we would just call it a noise, but it was actually the various sounds that they could make.
Wow.
Would be like to call a family member or a friend or something like that. But they weren't big on verbal communication. It was mostly telepathic. It was mostly, as you would expect, this is like, say, for example, birds in the collective.
Yeah.
They communicate with each other, or monkeys in the collective, they communicate with each other by feelings and sounds. That's a lot of how they communicated.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Well, as a collective, do you guys have a message for us humans on Earth?
Yeah, the whole group of them speaking together, their messages, well, actually coming in the form of a question: do you want to burn yourselves out as a species because that's what you're currently doing, burning yourselves out? You need to connect yourselves within as a society, connect yourselves to each other as multiple societies. You need to start looking at each other as not the enemy, but as friends, as brothers and sisters. And that's how the human species will continue to evolve.
Yeah. We have to unite.
Yeah, yeah, it was a uniting message. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else they want to share?
Um, well, she in particular is actually quite glad that she was able to give at least a small insight into her disposition.
Yeah.
That she is actually part of our human evolutionary process, not by a natural state of affairs, but by, well, I want to use the word interference, but interference to one person is science and creation to another.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the hands of a particular alien culture, they are part of the human evolution, right? And they are very proud of that, and they're very glad that they had an ability to tell you about it, because everybody's been saying that they're aliens, 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 and although there's alien DNA connected to them, and that they are a hybrid, they are human aboriginals of Earth. They are from the Earth. They are not from anywhere else.
I think that's amazing. That's so mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm fairly mind blown actually. I'm very happy because I've connected to her emotionally, and I feel a great deal of love there. I feel like it's like, wow, I'm connecting to a piece of my own evolutionary history. So
It's like they were closer to us this whole time, and we kept putting them in space.
yeah, we keep separating them, and they're not. They're part of it. They're part of our genome. Um, Curtis is like, well, we will get on to the greater story of this in another show. He's like, we had to sort of introduce it, come into it,
Okay.
and do it that
Okay.
way. Yeah.
Curtis. Okay. Okay.
I like
Yeah.
Curtis. He's a lot like Eric Medus actually in his personality. He's like just full on. He's just like yay, I'm in the room.
Eric introduced me, so that's probably
Well, there you
why.
go.
Oh man. Um, I guess. Well, I mean, I don't know if Curtis has anything to say, or even if Eric has anything to say. I'm. I think I'm all out of questions for now.
Well, Eric says hi and just get on with it. And Curtis is like, yeah, this is going to be good. He totally does have an agenda. I'm like, Curtis, you really should tell Ivory what your agenda is so you don't sort of surprise each other in the middle of a channeling. He's like, it keeps it fresh. Keeps it fresh.
It's true. I mean, I feel fresh right now. Oh man.
All
Well,
right, Ivory,
okay.
well, that was lovely. Yeah, I'm very grateful. I wonder if I could just, now that I've got very familiar with these two energies, I wonder if I could get a little bit more about their relationship, maybe as a couple. Um,
Yeah.
they were bred together. They were a breeding pair. They were a breeding pair. Um, I'm like, why? I asked, why is it so uncomfortable to have these eggs inside you? Like, shouldn't that be like a natural thing? She said yes and no, because she was part of the stepping stone between laying eggs and the mammal body, right? There were a lot of problems. It was very problematic for her. But it was the husband, the, the husband, Alberto, it was his DNA that helped create them. I'm like, but why did you not get to see that through, see that process through to the end? And she said something went wrong with the DNA processing, the chains of DNA, and it was causing malfunctions in the offspring.
Oh.
So, as a breeding pair, they were just taken out of the equation.
Ay, ay, ay. They were just like experiments. They're just like just
Yeah,
things that they could just throw away.
yeah, exactly. That's how they were treated. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm so glad that they shared their story. I mean, that's it's like heartbreaking to hear. I mean, I mean,
It is in one way, but I mean, we should be glad that they still have each other
yeah.
in spirit. So she said that they are eternally matched spiritually. They are part of each other's soul family. They're eternally matched. So despite what the feelings were at the time during that incarnation, they're still very blessed to have each other.
So was that like a soul contract for them to come into that life to help us evolve?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it was. Absolutely, it was. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Wow. Well, thank you for that. That's amazing. Thank you.
Right. I guess you can wrap it up now and see what Curtis has got in store for you next time.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much again, Allison. I really, really appreciate this. And this was amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you to all you Nazca aliens. And of course, thank you to, of course, Curtis and Eric and whoever else is there that showed up for today. Thank you guys so much. Okay, well, everyone, thank you guys
You
for watching and see you again.
like, like,